The Sonic franchise is no stranger to the horror and Halloween genre and aesthetics. From horror-themed levels, to a whole murder mystery game, to, well, whatever the fuck this is. I'd go as far as to say that Halloween themes are a small staple of the Sonic series. I mean, just look at Sonic.EXE's popularity with the kids. Halloween being such a staple of Sonic is why I thought it'd be fun to make a video going over all the horror elements in the games that I can think of. Unfortunately, I won't be including fan projects, the shows, or the comics, since, well,
that's a lot of work and I'm lazy.
But if this video does well, we can make that a video for next year's Horror Harvest. Which, by the way, did I forget to mention that this video is a part of a month-long horror marathon? Yeah, I'm currently running Veggie Boy's Horror Harvest on the channel. Each week you're gonna get a different horror-themed video. Last week we had Mario Party, this week we have Sonic, next week is Dragon Ball, and finally we're gonna finish it off with a Silent Hill video on the 31st. But that's not all, dear viewer. Sprinkled in between all of my weekly uploads this month will be parts 1 through who knows how many of my Silent Hill F playthrough. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss them, okay? Now back to the Blue Rat. I want to tackle all the entries in this list in a somewhat chronological order, so we're gonna go back in time all the way to 1992, when Tails fucking dies. By now, this is definitely an overused fun fact / shocking fan theory. However, I don't feel like I can make a video like this without mentioning it. If you happen to play Sonic 2 on the Game Gear and unlock that game's bad ending by not collecting the Chaos Emeralds on your run, the credits will roll as Sonic runs into the night all on his lonesome. And at the very end, he will stare up into the night sky only to be greeted with the passing phantom of his best friend that he failed to save. Or at least that's what they say. I wouldn't know because you couldn't pay me to subject myself to more than 5 minutes of this god-awful piece of shit. I hate to get all angry video game nerd on y'all, but I despise Sonic 2 8-bit with a passion, dude. I can't finish it and I refuse to finish it. But back to Tails. Even Sega has leaned into playing into this joke. They made a reference to this popular meme in the 30th Anniversary Symphony. Next up on our list of hedgehog horrors is the meanest bean of them all, Dr. Eggman and his methods for supplying power to his seemingly infinite supply of robots. While it may look goofy when you're running through a Sonic game and you give a Badnick a good old bop and expel the animal trapped inside, when you really think about it from a Flicky's perspective, it can turn into a scary sight. I'd assume Eggman would supply each Badnick with the bare essential amounts of nutrients probably fed to the Flicky through a tube to keep it going. On top of that, I'd imagine that the Flicky inside the Badnick never gets a break. So you're a poor little piggy trapped in almost entire complete darkness until you're hopefully maybe lucky enough to be saved by Sonic and Co. So next time you decide to be a little bit more of a pacifist on your Sonic runs, remember who you're abandoning. I also wanted to briefly provide an honorable mention to the roboticization process in the Sad AM cartoon because that one actually used to scare me as a kid. Following up the Doctor's dirty deeds is a combination of 3 entries that share the same game, and that is Sonic CD.
Sonic CD's nuts!
First up, we have the Majin Sonic screen. Much like the death of Tails and a few other entries in this series, these are some of the go-tos for most people when discussing horror in this franchise. Through Sonic CD's sound test, you can input a variety of different codes to unlock some cool Easter eggs left behind by the developers. They range from a variety of cool and funky artworks and a fun Batman parody as well. However, if you want to make your fun infinite, input this specific code on screen. If done correctly, you'll be greeted by this artwork featuring the Majin Sonic design. If the design wasn't creepy enough, it's also accompanied by a text that translates to "Fun is infinite at Sega Enterprises, signed by Majin," which in Japanese can translate to demon. Furthermore, this screen is also accompanied by our second entry on the Sonic CD list, and that is the American Boss theme. I wish I had owned Sonic CD growing up, because imagine shutting off the lights and telling your younger siblings that you want to show them a cool Easter egg only to prank them with this. If you're an older sibling, I'm sure you understand how gut-wrenching this missed opportunity at administering childhood trauma upon the young ones is. But it's no use crying over spilled egg yolks because we have to cover the final entry that also comes from Sonic CD. And that is Metal Sonic. To me, Metal Sonic screams more cool and badass than he does horror, but think about it for a second though. You're Sonic and you're going about your day busting badniks, blah 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 blah. And then this uncanny mechanical menace pulls up on you. He looks like you, he has no mouth, he even has your gestures down to a T. It's not quite like staring into a robotic mirror, but it is somewhat close. And on top of that, he's sentient. So sentient, in fact, that he feels the need to straight up kill you to validate his existence. There is even actually a cool fan theory that suggests that Metal is a roboticized Sonic from the bad future. SF Productions covered it in this video, so go check it out afterwards. All those things and more are exactly why I love Metal Sonic so much. I would like to see him in more games, but less as a lackey to Eggman and more as a chaotic third party who comes in and makes bad situations worse. I also can't wait to see what his dynamic with Sage will be like. Continuing the Metal Sonic wagon comes an entry from Knuckles Chaotix. Chaotix. Similar to Sonic 2 for Game Gear, this entry has to do with the game's bad ending. Should you happen to finish the game without collecting the 7 world rings, or no wait, the 7 chaos rings, my bad, how dare I get those two mixed up. Anyway, you will receive a unique credit sequence where Metal Sonic Kai can be seen floating around the burning city that you failed to save. And speaking of Knuckles, by the way, he can work as a perfect little segue into my next entry, that being the stupid little horny ghost in Sonic 3 and Knuckles' Sandopolis zone. Normally, I wouldn't put something like this in a list like this because then I'd have to include other enemies of this type, such as King Boom Boom or the Pumpkin Ghost from Sonic Heroes, but these ghosts specifically did use to scare the crap out of me as a kid. Mainly in the section where you not only have to keep the lights on, but also be quick with your escape because the sand keeps rising. Yeah, 10-year-old me used to get heartburn trying to clear Sandopolis. Thank the Lord for save files. Moving us away from the 2D era and into the 3D era comes Sonic.EXE. If I didn't mention the Tails doll, I feel like I'd never hear the end of it in the comments. I'm not super crazy for the Tails doll, and I've also never played Sonic.EXE, so sorry if this entry was a little anticlimactic, but you know, the Tails doll has been done to death. Now comes the true first instance of horror in the 3D Sonic era, and that is having to play Sonic Shuffle with your friends. Ooh. But even scarier than that is having to play the Secret Rings party mode. Coincidentally though, we've done both of those things on my channel, so go check them out. Unless you're too scared. Going back to canon material, or well, who even knows what's canon anymore, because apparently Sonic Shuffle is canon. So bad segue aside, here's the Sonic Adventure entries, everyone. I actually have to separate them into 2 entries for this game. The first one is straight up just E102 Gamma's entire existence. I know it's a little more sad and bittersweet than scary, but if I had to put myself in a robot's perspective and come to terms with the fact that I not only need to kill myself, but also all of my siblings for the greater good, yeah, I'd rather be a mindless egg pawn. Fuck that. The second entry from SA1 is Perfect Chaos Destruction of Station Square. The top 3 ways that I absolutely hope I don't die in are being killed by a cop, burning to death, and drowning, also in that order. So you can imagine how much I'd hate to be a regular motherfucker just minding my business in Station Square when Perfect Chaos floods it. And don't give me that shit of all's well that ends well, Tails. It is impossible for there to have been 0 casualties. You have blood on your hands, you 8-year-old lying motherfucker. Pumpkin Hill has become a beloved staple for Sonic fans around this time of year. So this is another one of those things that I just need to mention. Also, it doesn't hurt that its theme slaps harder than DK's downbeat, and the level itself is also a ton of fun. Next up is another game with 2 entries. Those are about to become a little more common. Sonic Heroes' first entry is the fake Eggman. Imagine you're any of the giving teams and then you beat Eggman only to watch him fucking dissolve before your very eyes. If Metal Sonic wanted to fuck with them, he could have just easily made the goo red and added a fake skeleton.
Alright, Egghead. Nowhere to run off to this time. Eggman?
Sonic, I think he's dead.
Oh no. Tails, we gotta hide the body. You gotta help me. I can't go back to jail. Not again.
Wait, again?
The second Heroes entry is Hang Castle. While it's not the scariest thing in the world, it's genuinely one of my favorite Sonic zones of all time. I adore when Sonic Team fully leans into an aesthetic for a level and just goes all in with it. That's why Heroes is still my favorite game in this series to this day. Almost all of its levels lean into this approach and I love it so much for that. Our penultimate game is also a double entry, and that is Sonic.EXE. And no, it's not that the game is so bad that it's scary. Have some class, you mook. First and foremost, a destroyed future is scary as hell. What do you do besides try not to die all day? Secondly, Mephiles. Just Mephiles. Like, he is the literal devil. He has no mouth. I think his first form is also a lot creepier than his second form. And on top of that, he spawns from any person's given shadow. So if you're unlucky enough to release Mephiles from the Scepter of Darkness, like that's just you with no mouth and like with all the color washed out of you. And ultimately, he is the only person in the games to have ever been able to straight up kill Sonic, discounting the non-canon endings in Shadow of 5. If you're not one of the Hedgehog trio or Blaze and you run into Mephiles, like, you're straight up screwed, dude. The final double entry comes from Sonic Unleashed. You can't expect me to make a Halloween Sonic video and not mention everyone's favorite little furry boy. So the Werehog is our first entry. And on the real though, that transformation for the first time had to fucking hurt, dude. And much like with the Werehog's first transformation, the second entry is the world getting split apart. Like, imagine being out on a boat or something when that shit happened and you just fall through to the Earth's fucking core. That not only combines my fear of burning to death, but it also incorporates my fear of drowning and my fear of heights. Yeah, screw all that. Now, our penultimate entry on this list is by far the scariest of them all. And that is being a Sonic fan in the 2010s. Ooh. Nah, but you have to admit that while it wasn't scary per se, it was a tremendously tough time for all of us. So if you've made it this far, congrats! You deserve the golden medal of being a Sonic fan. Before I close up the video with the final entry, I thought I'd provide some honorable mentions. So here they are. Sonic Frontier's premise isn't scary, but it definitely set up a more macabre. You know what? I'm busting out the Spanish. Macabro ambience with its trailers and new style of enemies. But the one thing I feel could definitely make this list is digitization, or the digitized state if you're a little bit more of a purist. If you happen to grow up with Code Lyoko in the early 2000s as a kid, you know how scary they can make that shit seem. Just thinking about being stuck in a digital limbo while also being stuck in these cages that only an organic being can break out of, and they have to be strong enough to collect the keys for it first. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take my chances at Station Square, to be honest. That does it for all my spooky Sonic entries. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And with all of that, I have been Veggie Boy. Let me know if I missed any obvious moments and things that should have been entries in this video. Or let me know what you would have included as well. Nicely. There will definitely be more Sonic on this channel soon. I'm working on another Sonic video that will drop in November, along with my unboxing for Sonic.EXE Shadow Generations Collector's Edition. If Limited Run Games actually sends it this time. But in the meantime, feel free to stick around for the rest of my horror harvest. Outro Spooky Veggie will tell you a little bit more about it. Bye-bye. Ooh, it's me, Spooky Veggie. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll be uploading a bunch of horror-themed videos this month as I am running my horror harvest. So make sure you subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss them. Okay? If you want to see more content from me, here's the Horror Harvest 2025 playlist, and another video I think you'll enjoy. See ya!